Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my latest 2022 NFL preview. Today, I'm going to go over the San Francisco 49ers. Now, if you're new to this channel, it's your first time here, and you like football, hit that subscribe button, join the growing community of football junkies and fans of all 32 NFL teams. Now, here's how my preview videos work. I'm going to start off with 3 things I like about the San Francisco 49ers. Then I'm going to give you 3 things I don't like. Then I'm going to go over the schedule, the yearly win total odds, and at the very end, I reveal I'm going to put action down on the San Francisco 49ers. Now, let's kick this off. 3 things I like about the San Francisco 49ers. First thing I like about the San Francisco 49ers is that they were able to sign Deebo Samuel this offseason. He signed a 3-year, $71.55 million contract with $58.1 million guaranteed. He becomes a free agent in 2026 when he turns 30, and that might be a good thing considering how much he's being used in the San Francisco offense. He was second in rushing yards. He was first in rushing touchdowns, led the team with 8. And his receiving numbers alone are absolutely elite. 77 receptions, 1,405 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Combined, he had 1,770 total yards and 14 touchdowns. When this situation started with him holding out and demanding a trade, I really didn't think a deal would get done. But bottom line, if this production keeps up the way it has been last year, I think San Francisco actually got a bargain. And the second thing I like about the San Francisco 49ers is their defensive line. Last year, San Francisco had 48 sacks. Joey Bosa led the team, of course, with 15 and a half. And is still growing and still getting better, believe it or not. And then you have Eric Armstead, who's still an absolute nightmare for teams. And then you have the 2020 first-round draft pick, Javon Kinlaw. This is a guy who comes back from injury. I absolutely loved him coming out of South Carolina. He's got Pro Bowl potential written all over him. He just has to stay healthy. And then in the second round, they got one of my draft crushes, Drake Jackson out of USC. I didn't love him for all teams, but I do love him for San Francisco. I didn't know if he was more of a 3-4 outside linebacker or an undersized 4-3 defensive end, but in this wide 9 defense, he's going to be allowed to rush the passer while he bulks up to be an every down starter in the NFL. Bottom line, this defensive line has 2 absolute studs in Bosa and Armstead, and then you have 2 really young, talented players in Kinlaw and Jackson that could make this defensive line even better than it was last year. In this style of defense, you don't have a lot of blitzing, so almost all of the 48 sacks they got was from this defensive line. And if Kinlaw can stay healthy and Jackson can develop, this defensive line should be among the best in the NFL. It could even be the best in the NFL. Now, the third thing I like about San Francisco 49ers is the running game. The 49ers were 5th in attempts last year, 7th in yards, and 5th in rushing touchdowns. And their leading rusher was their final draft pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. You have Elijah Mitchell, a 6th-round pick, who led the team with 963 rushing yards. The year before, Jeff Wilson led the team in rushing. Wilson was a free agent running back who was actually cut by the 49ers and still on the team right now. 3 years ago, Raheem Mostert led the team in rushing. 4 years ago, Matt Breida. 5 years ago, Carlos Hyde. I don't know how Shanahan does it, but he just finds running backs. This year, the team drafted Tyron Davis-Price in the 3rd round, and they still have a 3rd-round pick, Trey Sermon. Now, Sermon has a lot of talent, but he's always had injury issues both in college and in the pros. But if he can stay healthy, he may be the leading rusher. Bottom line, you have a bevy of really, really good running backs, and your running game's excellent. But what really stands out is that when you have a different leading rusher every year, you don't have to spend a lot of money on the running back position. You can give that money to Deebo Samuel and your defensive line. So just to recap the 3 things I like about the San Francisco 49ers, I like that they were able to sign Deebo Samuel. I love the defensive line, and I like the running game. Now, 3 things I don't like about the San Francisco 49ers. The first thing I don't like about the San Francisco 49ers is their quarterback situation. First, you give Jimmy G a big contract, which I thought was a mistake to begin with. Then you decide too late that it was a mistake. You give up a lot of trade capital to draft Trey Lance. Now he's your starter, and Lance is talented, don't get me wrong, but he's beyond raw. Your quarterback led you to the NFC Championship game last year. Now you're going with an extremely raw second-year player. The bottom line, you're going to have growing pains. The question really is how much and how do you adapt from it. Bottom line, it's just not an ideal situation for a team coming off an NFC Championship loss. The second thing I don't like about the San Francisco 49ers is I have concerns about the secondary. With the defensive line getting a lot of sacks and pressure last year, it really hit some of the secondary shortcomings. Now, this offseason, they signed Chardavius Ward. You still have Emmanuel Mosley, and then last year's third-round pick, Avery Thomas. Jason Verrett's really a very talented corner. He suffered injury issues since he's been in the NFL. It's still up in the air if he's even going to start or be able to play week one. Then your best defensive back was Jimmy Ward. He actually went down just recently. And they signed Tayshaun Gibson, who can play for you in the short term. But bottom line, you go into week one with two of your starting defensive backs are iffy to play. The secondary is easily the weak point on this defense, and with injuries already mounting, and we're not even through preseason yet, it's additional pressure on the defensive line to get additional pressure. And the third thing I don't like about the San Francisco 49ers is the brutal NFC West. It's kind of funny, but the 49ers swept the Rams in the regular season, then went 0-4 against in the other four games in their division. This also means that they went 8-3 outside of the NFC West last year, and that's not a bad thing. If I'm being honest, I really don't know how to gauge this information because, I mean, you did sweep the Rams in the regular season. That's a good thing, but you got swept by the other two teams. You got a new quarterback, and you did beat the Super Bowl winning Rams twice last year. Bottom line, you got the Rams who won the Super Bowl, the Cardinals that made the playoffs, and you got 10 wins last year. 10 wins might get you into the playoffs again this year. It's debatable. I think in the NFC you can get to 10 wins, you can get into the playoffs, but I do believe that you're going to have to do better than 2-4 in the division in order to get back to the playoffs. Just to recap the three things I don't like about the 49ers, the quarterback situation. I have concerns about the secondary, and you're in a very tough NFC West. Now let's take a look at the 49ers schedule. I double-checked the ESPN website with the 49ers website because I wasn't sure that this was right, but bottom line, the Niners have 9 home games, 7 road games, and 1 neutral site game, a Monday night game in Mexico, week 11. This is a great schedule if you're a Niners fan. Last year, San Francisco went 2-4 in the division. I decided to go with 3-3. I crossed out all the division games. And you open the season at Chicago. Now, both teams have young quarterbacks, but I do like San Francisco to open the season with a win. At Denver's really tough, but after that, you got 2 very winnable road games at Carolina and at Atlanta. Now, last year, San Francisco opened the season 0-4 at home. They really don't have a home field advantage, so I'm not counting Week 7 as a win. But another really neat advantage is that Week 9, while you have a bye, the Chargers travel to Atlanta, so you got a West Coast team that travels to the Eastern time zone, then back to the West Coast while you're on a bye, and you get to host them. So that's a real nice advantage. Then after the Monday night game in Mexico, you get 3 consecutive home games. So if you can win that Chargers game, and you do have a nice advantage there, if you can get 2 out of those 3 home games, you're in really good shape. Another neat advantage is Week 15, you travel to Seattle on Thursday night, but Washington will play on Sunday, so you're going to get a few extra days rest before you host Washington. Again, it's an East Coast team traveling to the West Coast, so you get a nice advantage there. And then you end the season at Vegas. So if you win the Chargers game, you win 2 out of those 3 at home, and let's just say you split Washington and Vegas. I got you to 7 right there if I'm doing my math right. Um, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I got you to 9 actually. I get you to 9 because I got you 3 before the bye. The Chargers. 2 of those 3 are at home, so that gets you to 6. And then okay, no, I got you. I got you to 7. Okay, I'm sorry. So if you get 3 divisional wins again, that gets you back to 10. The yearly win total odds are 10 at both Caesars and Barstool, and both of them have the industry standard at negative 110. Now, no way I'm touching the 49ers because while I love the schedule, I have no idea if Lance is really an upgrade of Garoppolo. If I believe that, matter of fact, that if you think that Trey Lance is an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo and he's going to play better this year, I would strongly encourage you to take the over. But I don't have any indicator that he is going to be an upgrade, so I'm going to pass on this. Plus, with injuries in the secondary, and I really don't know what to do, so I'm definitely passing. But if I had to bet on this team, I would actually probably take the under, but I would avoid betting on San Francisco completely. But this is my opinion. This is what I think. I really want to hear from. What do you think? Drop a comment below, and let's talk football. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, give me the thumbs up, and ring the bell. That way you're notified every time I come out with a new video. Tomorrow, I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs. So I will see you tomorrow.